Dear viewers and learning enthusiasts, I am Livia PV and welcome to day 3 of the online course run by Ryan Publishers, Personality Development. Today we are going to discuss something on factors and techniques in personality, that is a continuation of day 2, self-esteem and group dynamics. Let's start today's session.
I looked in the mirror a short time ago. I found myself staring at someone I know. He was looking at me with a look not so kind. I knew his ill thoughts, I was reading his mind. He said, "You're too skinny, no, you're too fat. You're too much of this and you're too much of that." Not one kind thing to me did he say, and I asked him why he was acting this way. He said, "I'm just an image, I'm not really real. I'm merely a reflection of everything you feel. And it really hurts me to say the things I do, 'cause everything I'm saying is what you think of you." You know, we're talking to ourselves each and every hour, from the moment that we wake up till we say our evening prayer. If most of it is negative, then what can we expect? Whatever message we put in, that's what we will reflect. He said, "I'm just an image, no, I'm not really real. I'm merely a reflection of everything you feel. And it really hurts me to say the things I do, 'cause everything I'm saying is what you think of you." So the next time in the mirror, if you should see a flaw, simply say, "It's part of me, it's definitely not all." And that person in the mirror who treated you so bad may just be the best friend that you've ever had. He said, "I'm just an image, no, I'm not really real. I'm merely a reflection of everything you feel. And it really hurts me to say the things I do, 'cause everything I'm saying is what you think of you."
So you can see here there is a mirror. The mirror acts as another personality. But actually what is it? It's a mere reflection of who you are, what you think of yourselves. The mirror tells you you're not good enough, you look bad, you are ugly, you're fat, you're too thin, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. But what the mirror say, even I'm sorry the things that I'm talking to you, but I can't help it. Why? Because I'm just a reflection of whatever you think you are. So this is what we are going to talk about today. Mark Twain has said, "A man cannot be comfortable without his own approval." So this approval, your own approval, what is it and how we can get through it, and how we can turn into a positive reflection all the time. Even if there is a blot on your face, you're not looking good, or you are down with your self-confidence, how can you get a rebirth from it? You can fly away from your ashes like a phoenix. How you can do that? So that is what we are going to discuss today. The first topic, self-esteem. So I have a few questions for you here. What is self-esteem? What factors influence low or high self-esteem? How do we build self-esteem for self or others? So just take 1 second or 2 seconds to just think about it. Do you have a wholesome idea about what self-esteem is? Do you have self-esteem? What kind of self-esteem is that? Is it a low self-esteem or high self-esteem? And if it's low or it's medium, how you can build up your own self-esteem for self as well as others. It's a positive thing you do for others also if you can build your own self-esteem into a high self-esteem. So I hope you have thought about it. You have given it a thought. Self-esteem is whatever you are. You can see the picture here. I am. It's the whole thing, the sum total of whatever you think about yourself. It's all about your self-worth and self-respect. the values that you approves of, appreciates, the prizes, or what do you like about yourself or others, himself or herself. Now this particular definition is given by Adler and Stewart in 2004. So you can come to a conclusion that self-esteem is all about an individual, what he thinks about his worth, value and judgment. The way we see and think about ourselves. That's self-esteem in simplest of terms. The way we see and think about ourselves. It's not others' opinion. So how do you get this self-esteem what you presently have? So as and now you are attending this class session, you will have a particular amount of self-esteem. So how did you get that amount of self-esteem? Whether it's low or high, doesn't matter. Your environment includes everything. The environment, the conditions, the situations you have born and brought up in, your family, the environment your family gives you, the achievements, the successes have you got till now, whether it's small or big, your physique and health, and all these things gives you a sum total of your self-esteem. And self-esteem develops throughout life through your small tiny experiences, or it may be big experiences, and especially through your childhood experiences, how others have treated you in your childhood. That also affects the self-esteem that you have developed at present. What not? We'll see what self-esteem is not. Self-esteem is not what other people think of you. If somebody else is saying you, okay, you are this person and you have this much confidence, it's not that. What you perceive about yourself, that is self-esteem. And it's not the feeling of being superior to everyone, or it's not an arrogant feeling, or narcissistic. Narcissistic is being selfish, okay? Loving or admiring oneself in a very greater amount, that is called being narcissistic. The word narcissist has come from a Greek story. So then self-esteem is not all these things. It's not about being selfish. Now you can see self-esteem has a very important role to play in many of the psychological theories. One of the best example is Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of need. This we have already discussed in the first session, day 1 session, where we were talking about how the personality has developed. Now in the self-esteem also you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth session is the self-esteem. Now when you have the physiological needs, you fulfill your physiological needs like hunger, sleep, thirst and everything. You go to the next level of satisfying the needs. That is the safety needs. And after fulfilling safety needs and love and belonging needs, the next session you move on to is your esteem, where you have to fulfill the need, the thirst of success or achievement or good life. That is where the esteem comes. You can see that it's in a very important position, because after self-esteem you go to a self-actualization period, where it is at present achieved by spiritual gurus or people who do continuous meditation. So you can see how important esteem is to reach this section. So this is the importance of self-esteem in your life. There are different types of self-esteem. You sometimes there are 12 varieties. Very bit tiny changes are there in among all of these, but mainly 3 kinds you can say. First one is inflated self-esteem. Then you have high self-esteem, and there is low esteem. So what is this inflated self-esteem? Is thinking about yourself more than that is required. That is, people with inflated self-esteem, they think that they are better than everyone in the world, and they never doubts on underestimating everyone without any consideration. Okay, and it's a very negative. Note that very negative kind of self-esteem is inflated self-esteem. Now the next one is high self-esteem. The people with high self-esteem always accept and value themselves, and there is always confidence and courage in them. when you say they accept and value themselves, it does not mean that they are not faced with any kind of barriers or challenges. They are always in difficult situations, but still they have the confidence and courage to come up from that. So that is the importance of people with high self-esteem. And there is low esteem. That is, people with low self-esteem do not trust in their talents. They devalue themselves. They do not value themselves, and they have just the opposite of high esteem. They have less confidence and less courage. So these are the three types of self-esteem, and there are assessments to measure the self-esteem. If you are wondering like how my self-esteem is, if you can realize it very well, good. But if you want to just correctly measure your self-esteem, you have assessments like Rosenberg's scale, Cooper-Smith inventory, and there are many more reliable online sources also. So you can go there and check for yourself what your self-esteem level is. And you can see high self-esteem, how it takes birth inside you. Like when you are being praised throughout your childhood or from your birth, if you are being praised well for your good things, good deeds, and if you have success every now and then, if you have loyal friends whom you can trust, very trustworthy friends who actually positively constructively critique you, then you will get high self-esteem. When you are listened to, when you are speaking something, and there are people who listen to you actually and consider your points, value your points, then you will develop high self-esteem. And when you are spoken to with respect by others, then also you can positively develop high self-esteem. When do you get low self-esteem, especially in children or adolescents? You can just see this. When there is continuous failure without even one bit of success, then in that person you can see lower self-esteem. And the one who is always strives for 100% perfection, you know that such thing never sustained. It never exists like as 100% perfection. But that expectation leads to low self-esteem. That you expect in a high level, and when you cannot obviously achieve it, then you will come to low self-esteem cadre. And when you are ignored or made fun of all the time in your life, then low self-esteem takes birth from that. And when there is relentless criticism, that is, nobody is stopping in criticizing you from the childbirth, then low self-esteem happens. What is low self-esteem? That is the lack of confidence and feeling bad about themselves. And their attitude will always be, I can't do it. Even a small thing, no, I'm not capable of doing it. That will be their attitude. What is the symptoms of having low self-esteem? That you will feel unhappy and miserable all the time. You will think of yourself as you're not good as others, and you're not confident, and you are tired, and you're weak all the time, and you look at the worst side of everything. Even when somebody is telling something very very simple, you will say that no, that is, you cannot do that, it's going to happen like this. A very difficult thing or very worst thing you will say always, and you do not respect yourselves, and you can't even digest a compliment. This is the worst thing about the low self-esteem people, that even if when you say a nice compliment, oh, you look good today, they'll say, oh, I don't think so. It must be the hairstyle I'm having, or it must be the dress I have. They are very reluctant to take a good compliment for themselves. Okay, so we'll see how to cross over all these barriers in our session. Now the effect of low self-esteem is the panic attacks. You will have every now and then, you will have panic attacks, and fear of trying new things. You never try a new thing in life, and negativity about oneself, about others around you, and constant complainers. This is not good, this is not this. So all this comes from the low self-esteem. If you are not aware of it, please be aware of it now. and no one wants to hang out with you. That's when you can understand that, okay, you have an issue of low self-esteem. So all these things are effects of low self-esteem, and we'll be seeing in the session that how we'll overcome all these barriers. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt has told this, and the Iron Lady herself is saying this thing. That is, only if you are feeling inferior inside yourself, that others can make you inferior. So your consent, how to make this consent, that not being inferior to anyone. High self-esteem makes you feel good about yourself. I can do it is the main attitude of such people, and that is we are going to be after the session, and we all will be energetic and hopeful once high self-esteem infuses into us, and confident, happy with each success, whether it's small, tiny or a big success. You will be happy with each one, each day, each minute, and you'll always look for ways to succeed. If life is trying to pull you down, you will look up and you'll see, okay, no, I can have my success there at that point. So you'll always look for ways to succeed, and you don't worry about how others will judge them. So all these are the characteristics of high self-esteem people, and we are going to fall into that session after this lecture. Your biggest enemy is yourself, so be your best friend. In the mirror, we have seen the same reflection at first when you were thinking about all the negative things, I'm not good enough. The reflection also told you the same thing. But when you realize that it's just a mere reflection of your own thoughts, you come up with something positive. Even there is a blemish in you, you feel that it's all right, I'm good, I can do good things. So that same exact reflection becomes your best friend. But how you do it? How you turn your low self-esteem into high self-esteem? So let's see this.
Look at yourself, look in your eyes. You gotta see it, okay? You gotta feel it. You ready? You ready for school? Is it gonna be a good day? A really good day? It's gonna be positive? Say, I am strong.
I am strong.
Say, I am smart.
I am smart.
Say, I work hard.
I work hard.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am respectful.
I am respectful.
Yeah. Say, I'm not better than anyone.
I'm not better than anyone.
Nobody's better than me.
No one's better than me.
I am amazing.
I am amazing.
I am great.
I am great.
What's your name?
Aaliyah Austin.
If you fall,
I get back up.
what are you?
I'm blessed.
Yes. Say thank you, God,
Thank you, God,
for making me
for making me
the greatest.
the greatest.
There's nobody
There's nobody
better
better
than me.
than me.
All right, you're five. Let's go.
I am in just awe for this kid and her father, the way the self-esteem is built up from such a small age. Do we do this? Do we do this positive self-talk? Only if you do this every day in the morning before you start up your work, there is nobody to pull you down, I will say that. So, this is the importance of having the self-esteem, and there are ways like this, strong ways like this, to build our high self-esteem in a positive way, which will lead us to success. So there are 2-3 things that this child repeats, that I am not better than anyone and nobody is better than me. Okay, there are 2 things. You're not superior, you're not inferior. You are as equal as others. That's the belief, that's the strength that you have to have in your life. that will lead you everywhere into the arms of success. So there are ways like this I'm going to share with you, like how you can build up positive self-esteem about yourself. Analyze your strengths and weaknesses honestly. Self-esteem is not like acting up something you don't have. No. First, you have to understand where your strength lies and where your weakness lies. So, and try to better your weaknesses a little more into strengths. If you cannot do it, not a problem at all, but you have to count your strengths very well in and be realistic while setting up the benchmarks. I know that I'm not good in any sports or physical activities. So if I think that I'm going to win the Olympics medal for running next year, is that a realistic benchmark for me? No. But if I'm good in teaching and I can come up with something, some classes, I can do my class tomorrow in a better way, that is absolutely possible. So set your benchmarks according to after analyzing your strengths. You cannot be perfect. Learn from your mistakes. There is nobody who is 100% perfect in this world, and everybody makes their own mistakes. You and me equally. So learn from the mistakes, do mistakes and learn from it, and you cannot be perfect. Always realize that. Rediscover yourself with trial and error method. Same thing. The continuation of the third point is this. When you make mistakes, that's an error. And without that error, rectify it and do the next trial and rediscover yourself. How possibly I could do this in a better way. That's what we need. And always remember that change is constant. Adjust and adapt your self-image. Suppose I have a very good self-image when I was 10 years old. Nobody can promise me that it's going to be the same when I'm 30 years old. So change is going to be there. Your environment, the people you come up with, your organization, the place you're working, the place where you're studying, where your friends are from, your parents, everybody, it's constantly changing. Their personality is dynamic. Remember the first day. So what you have to do is adjust and adapt your self-image. Today I'm realizing that I do not have the skill. Try and learn it. So adapt to your self-image. Comparison does not get you anywhere. I am not good in mathematics. I am good in English. My friend gets 100% marks in mathematics. Every test, every year, every all the competitions. But where are you now? So just think about that. Comparison does not get you anywhere. Stop comparing yourself with others because everybody is fighting their own fight, their own war. So remember that and respect it. And compare yourself from your last performance. That's what we want. Not with others, but with yourself. Be kind to yourself as well as towards others. If you're studying hard, you know that. And you are having many sleepless nights preparing for that test or preparing for that job interview or preparing for that new target you're going to achieve. But then at last, you're not getting what you expect. So don't go harsh on you. You are doing your level best. So appreciate yourself. Be kind. Only if you're kind to yourself, you can be kind to others. Write down appreciations and positives and blessings. When you are having a very short term of low self-esteem, and this can happen, trust me. Even if you have a positive self-image, even if you have a positive self-esteem, high self-esteem, there are some time, some day where you go low on that scale. You become a little low in your self-esteem. Even that time, these things can help you. Take a notebook, take your reflective journal, and we had a word about the reflective journal in the first session also. Write down the appreciations, positives on a daily basis, blessings, even if it's a small one, doesn't matter. So when you are in all-time low, you can take this up, you can read this and you can see what all blessings I have received till date. That is going to be a huge impact in your esteem issues. Most important, meditate, use affirmations. What is affirmation? Robin Sharma's The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari gives us beautiful examples of affirmations through a story. Affirmations were from the beginning of the time. Mantras are there, shlokas are there. Why are they there? They are positive affirmations, nothing but positive affirmations. You're saying something to the universe so that the universe will give back that goodness to you. That is affirmation. Say that I am enough, I am disciplined, I am energized. So if you can get many examples of affirmations from many of the books, self-help books, many online resources. You can get the affirmations example. So take that, whatever you want to attract to your life, and repeat it on a daily basis. Whenever you're doing your work, whenever you're meditating, use affirmations. That is going to have a positive impact on you. Learn a new skill. Now, this time, the COVID times are going a little bit difficult for us, maybe in the starting stage. The new skill everybody is learning now is how to be online, how to be alive online. So those who are not that good in technical skills, they are learning a new skill. So there is a late period when you can start with a new skill. You can learn languages. You can learn painting. So there are many skills which can help you. It may be in the field of arts, it may be in the field of technology. It's as per your convenience, and whatever it's helpful to you, you can learn that skill. Learn assertiveness, say no. When you have to say no, you have to do that. Be assertive, be clear what you're going to achieve and focus on that. Anything apart from that, it's just a diversion for you. It's going to take lots of your energy. So always focus on what you're going to achieve, and anything other than that, except that, learn to say no to that. Do something nice to someone. This is a very precious little message that I want to give you. Do something nice to someone so they will feel appreciated, and that positivity will reflect on you. So even if it's a small thing, try to do something nice. Smile to anyone. That's the simplest thing you can do. And ask for help and take it as an opportunity. Whenever you are in confusion, whenever you are in a difficult situation, there is no shame in asking for help of who is more experienced in that field. And take that as an opportunity to learn new things from that person. You can ask for a mentor. And this ask for help adds up to something, all these tips, what I'm giving you now to achieve high self-esteem, all these, if it's not working, it will work, but if it's not working at any condition, you can always take help from others. That is the counselors, psychological advisors, those who can lead you in the right way. And develop yourself one step at a time. There is no hurry. Go slow, but take small paces every time. Do not stop anywhere. It's like the rabbit and tortoise race. It's not that who runs fast. It's that who completes the race. That is important. So take one step at a time. Go in your pace, but be sure to develop yourself. Record your achievements daily basis. Again, the reflective journal thing, write down. You can have a diary where you write down your achievements, the things you have done positively in a day and what you can improve the next day. All these things you can write down. Choose friends who value and respect you. And I'm very sorry to say this, but who devalues you, you do not have anything to do with them. So choose friends wisely and be with who value and respect you, not the ones who demean you. And positive self-talk. Remember that girl and her father. Always stand in front of the mirror. If you don't get the mirror, just close your eyes and talk positively to yourself. You're doing your good. Congratulate yourself. Give a pat on your back. So positive self-talk makes wonderful results. Say thank you when you get a good compliment. I told you, when you have a low self-esteem, you don't take a compliment very well. So it's vice versa also. So always practice this. This comes out of practice. When somebody compliments you, say thank you and feel good that you have achieved that. Okay. you're looking good, you're looking smart, okay, you're active, then say thank you because you have worked for that. So always appreciate your. And most importantly, set short-term goal and reach them. You cannot have a very big goal and just keep it at maybe 5 years apart and just sit still and say that I'm going to achieve that goal. Set short-term goals. Your main goals have to be split into very tiny objectives. So every time, every 2 days or every 1 week or every 1 month, you reach that small goal first, so that it will lead you to your final achievement. So it's very important to set short-term goals. Your examination or your job interview is the main goal. Then you have to start with your personality development, your research in the area of the job or where you want to get the job, how will you get it, and what all educational qualification you need. So everything should be set as small short-term goals. Then you can achieve your biggest goal in life. Most importantly, self-acceptance. That's the very basic important thing to achieve high self-esteem. You have to love yourself. You have to accept yourself with all your flaws and negative or weaknesses. Mr. Ping in Kung Fu Panda, it's a very beautiful film with lots of positive lessons to give. He says to make something special, you just have to believe it's special. So it's same about all of us. That is, if you want to do something special as a person, you have to believe that you are special first. Then only accept yourself. And the definition itself says that the ability to love yourself unconditionally. Watch this word unconditionally, because no matter what flaws or traits exist, you can achieve your dreams. So always accept yourself. If you say that you're not enough every day, you're not going to be enough. So say that you are special, you can something extraordinary, then it will manifest in front of you. The apple thinks, why am not orange and juicy? The orange thinks, why am I not red and crunchy? Please do not compare, but because each one is special, others will be thinking the same about you. So do not compare, and there is no secret ingredient, it's just you. You as a whole, the Creator has created you in a complete way. Only thing you have to realize it's your own way, in your own pace. So the secret ingredient is always you. Simple way, the cartoon is saying, I compare myself to others. You shouldn't do that. That's the baseline. Be the best of whatever you are. Now, Dr. Nathaniel Branden, he is said to be the father of self-esteem movement, and he has written this beautiful book, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. You have to read it when you get time. It's a beautiful book. And in 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, he describes what are the key elements to raise a lower self-esteem into a high self-esteem of an individual. So what are these 6 pillars? The 6 pillars are nothing but living consciously, the practice of living consciously, the practice of self-acceptance, the practice of self-responsibility, the practice of self-assertiveness, the practice of living purposefully, the practice of personal integrity. Now, whatever tips we have seen in the previous slides, everything culminates into these 6 pillars. We'll see how it is. Living consciously is the practice of being aware of what you're doing while doing it. That is practice of mindfulness. That is, be conscious. If you are writing something, be conscious what you are writing, why you are writing it, and how you are writing it. Whenever you do something, be mindful about it. Absent-minded, if you do something, you're not getting to get the results of it. So be mindful. It's again a kind of meditation. We believe that meditation is an activity that has to be done by doing nothing, by closing your eyes. No. But even when you're doing your job, you can meditate through this mindfulness. Okay, it will give you high effects, high productivity, high success in your field of work, field of study. Self-acceptance, the practice of owning the truths regarding your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and being kind towards oneself, and respect, and of being for oneself in a basic sense. Like, you have to live for yourself, and you have to acknowledge your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. Remember this, never block any thoughts. When you think something and you know that it's bad, don't block it, just be aware of it. And then you can decide, go ahead or not to do it. So realizing it in one thing and accepting it that you have these emotions. Emotional intelligence, again, we see that there are no bad emotions as such, and you should never block it, because blocking some emotions, blocking some behaviors can manifest in some other way in your life, in a negative way. So always be aware of it and be kind to oneself and respect your thoughts and feelings and everything, because it's going to have a greater effect in your life, accepting yourself. And self-responsibility, the practice of owning one's authorship, actions, your capacity to cause something is your responsibility. If you are being happy, it's you are responsible for that. You are fighting with somebody, it's your responsibility. After fighting, don't say that it's because of you I fought. So, self-responsibility, be responsible for your own actions at every stage of your life. Self-assertiveness, the practice of treating one's needs and interests with respect and of expressing them in appropriate ways. When you feel that, okay, I want to do this is where many of us, differ in life, and this makes a chaos in your life, not being self-assertive enough. You need something and it's a positive thing also, but somebody else is saying that no, let's do it some way. But always express your needs and opinions. Going with that or against it, it's the next step. But always convince yourselves into expressing the way you feel in appropriate ways, always, not inappropriate ways, or always in a suitable way. You have to express your self-assertiveness. Living purposefully, the practice of formulating goals and formulating and implementing action plans to achieve them. So we have already discussed, like how to set a goal and how to make objectives to achieve them. Goal is like the destination and your objectives are like a path leading to it. So live purposefully. You must have a purpose. It's not like every day I'm getting up, I'm doing my job and I'm just completing that, coming home, coming to my room and sleeping. No, have a proper purpose. Even if you are doing a daily mundane job, have a purpose for that. Develop yourself and have a plan, a proper plan how you're going to achieve that goal, and make small action plans. So thinking all this keeps your brain very active, and it will give a purpose. Why I get up every morning, you get a purpose of that. Why do I, just freshen myself and go to my job? You'll get there are something called as, burning out situations, where you burn out from a job, burn out from the everyday work, maybe at home or in the school. You burn out, you become very tired. This happens because that purpose is not clear in front of you. So always live purposefully. The practice of formulate your goals. Always have a goal in your in front of you and implement action plans to achieve them. Personal integrity is there should be an alignment. Your behavior and your conviction should go hand in hand. You will have much of convictions. This is good, this is bad, this has to be done this way. So accordingly, you have to align your behavior in the same way. It has to go hand in hand. Otherwise, the conflict will come. So that is called as personal integrity. Like preaching and practicing. should be the same. Practice what you preach. It's not like you tell that a person should be like this, very kind, very loving, and you go to somebody and you shout at them. So that's not the personal integrity. Personal integrity is when you are in your personal life also, private life also, you're doing the same thing that you're preaching in your public life. So make sure you do that. And with this, we go to our next session. Let's see.
It's smarter to travel in groups.
We have seen till day, all these 3 days, till this point, that how to develop ourselves, how to be a better person, and how to be effective in your life, have a successful life as a person, as an individual. But when even there will be situations when one individual falls short of something. So in that manner, we have to work in groups. So working in groups is really important. This video also you've seen, like when one person cannot achieve something, as a group you can achieve a whole lot better. So how we do this, and how this the penguins, how the crabs, how the ants, they work in groups. There is some magnetic force that is called as group dynamics. So group dynamics is always very important. You have to build a team, and inside that team you should know how to go about things. So being a group will make you achieve a whole lot better than just being an individual and achieving things. So group dynamics is a set of behavioral and psychological processes that occur within a social group or between groups. It refers to the nature of groups, the laws of their development, interrelations with individuals, other groups, and larger institutions. So group dynamics is all about individuals coming together and making a social gathering called as a group. And its nature, how they develop, the interrelations of the individuals inside that group, all things, everything together is called as group dynamics. Now this is what we are going to talk about here. Bruce Tuckman is the most important personality exponent in this theory, that is of group development. He has come up with the stages of group. But before that, let's see what a group is. A group refers to a gathering of more than two, which is very structured. A group will be structured formally or informally. It can be a formal group like a office workers or some marathon runners or something like that. Like informal groups can be like friends, just a get-together group. So it should be structured in some way. For what? A group always have to achieve some common goals. They'll have a common goal amongst them, and it is characterized by interdependence. It's not like an individual working all alone. They are always interdependent with each other. So this is about the group. And Bruce Tuckman, he is a researcher who has done extensive kind of researches in the group development and how the group develops. And all this is said in his research article. The reference is given in. The stages of group development are the orientation, conflict, structure, work, and adjourning. So we have some names Bruce Tuckman has given to this, that is form, storm, norm, perform, and adjourn. So you can just guess the meaning of this from this. Like forming, it's a group, how they form it. Storming, some kind of a storm is there, some kind of a fight is there. Norming, that is they are giving out the norms, like you do this, you do that, and this will be my duty. Performing, at last the task in hand, they are performing it. And adjourning is just going away from their roles and just being at peace. So these are the basic stages of group development. We'll see them in a little more, some explanation is given to that. The process and the traits, like the first one was, yes, the forming. So members become familiar with each other and the group, and some issues will be there, inclusion issues. Whenever a group is formed, you will know. So the characteristics, the traits of this first stage will be, communications will be very polite, but there will be some ambiguity, some concern about the group goals. Leader is active, but members will be still in a passive mode because they are just getting into the understanding of the task in hand. Now, after forming the group, then we have the storming. Storming is the disagreement. Some kind of a disagreement will happen over the procedure. Some tensions will be there among the members. And there will be a slight antagonism towards the leader, how this is going to work, and some dissatisfaction will be expressed. The characteristics of this will be criticism, the ideas will be criticized, attendance of the team members will be very poor in the group, and there will be polarization and coalition forming. Now different polarizations will be there, different mini groups will form in that group. Now after forming, storming, then comes the norming. In the norming, the growth of cohesiveness and unity will be there, and establishment of roles. The team members will understand the roles, what they have to establish, and the standards, the relationship. There will be an increased sort of trust and communication happening. The characteristics of it is the agreement on procedures, reduction on the role ambiguity. The confusion will be less. And there will be a in total of we feeling about the team. Then the achievement is coming, the task is getting done, like the goal is achieved, very high task orientation will be there, and performance and production. So performance and production will be given importance, the emphasis will be given. So the characteristics of this stage will be the decision making, the problem solving, mutual cooperation will be there among the team members. And through this, they achieve the task in the last stage, that is performing. And the fifth stage is the dissolution. That is, after the task gets completed, what happens to this group? They adjourn. That is the termination of roles. The roles will not be there anymore. And the task will be completed at time. There will be reduction of dependency amongst them, and they are not dependent. Interdependency is not there because the task is completed. So what happens? The characteristics of this stage will be a disintegration and withdrawal will be there. The we feeling a little bit that will go away, and increased independence and emotionality. And sometimes some people may regret it because they worked as a group. Now that group feeling is not there, so that regret may be there. So let's see something about this. together everyone achieve more. The most important thing to see is you have to understand where your individual work is and do not interfere with the works of others. That is the most important thing in team building and working in a team. So for successive team building, if you want to create an effective and focused work team, what you have to do. So there are 8 C's that you can have in a proper working team. Clear expectations. Your expected performance will be very clear, and the team members, you have to make sure that they understand each other, they understand the performance, and they understand the reason for the creation of the team, because only if they see the goal, what they are going to achieve, they will be performing properly. And second C is commitment. Commitment, this is from an individual side, that complete commitment should be there, and they should participate in the team, feel that mission or the goal is very much important, and while accomplishing the mission, complete commitment should be there. And third C is the competence. Now competence, again, each member should have that knowledge, skill and capabilities. Competence always include these 3 things, that is the skill, the capability and the basic knowledge. Make sure that you as an individual working in a group have all these 3 things and you are competent enough while using the resources, strategies and the support to accomplish the goal of the team. And control. Now what this control is, control from both the sides. The team, through their commitments, their expectations, knowing the expectations, they have full freedom to utilize their competencies for the team. But there should be also accountability. Like, you should be accountable for whatever work being done in a team. Now, all these things will be reviewed in the meetings that is conducted every now and then. While forming the team, after forming the team, while carrying out the mission. The 5th C is the collaboration. We saw in that the previous video, how they collaborate with each other. They work effectively. What is collaboration basically is, each member know the roles and responsibility of that particular individual, as well as what should be the final mission. The racing car, fueling it and changing the tires and just servicing the whole car was the mission, the goal, making it ready for the rest of the race. That's the mission. But each individual has different roles and responsibilities. So they make sure they concentrate on that, and you are not as a person interfering with another team member's work. But at the end, they are achieving the common goal. That is collaboration. So you have to understand roles and responsibilities as team leaders, team members, whatever your role is. And you should understand the processes that is going to happen while achieving this goal. Communication is, it should be clear. The priority of the tasks, actions to be done should be clear to the members, and feedback should be there. If I do my work, if I have 5 tasks in my hand and each member has another 5 tasks in their hand, regular feedback should come. I have completed this, or he has completed this. So only after that the leader can understand in which way, which direction this work is going. And diverse opinions, obviously it will be there, because group or team is always built up of diverse individualities. So it should be always welcome, and conflicts you should take in a positive way and try to resolve it as fast as you can. And the 7th C is the creativity. The team should value creative thinking. Unique thinking style will be there for each member, so you can take it. Every now and then hold a meeting where you can take it, and if necessary you should always give a training also. If you are taking up a new team member, give a training and understand their strengths and weaknesses and balance it, and uncover each other's flaws, but try to balance it properly. And the managers or team leaders can empower the team through processes and trainings. Eighth one is the coordination. Should be coordinated by a central leader or a team, and they will make the team members understand how well they are coordinating and how near they are to the success. So now these were the 8 different C's to be understood in to make a effective team. And these were the 2 things that we have discussed in this third day's session. This is the last session that is happening as a part of this online course. And here for this day's session, I have gone through these 3 books, 2 books and 1 article actually. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and 6 Pillars, this we've discussed while discussing about the self-esteem heart, written by Dr. Nathaniel Branden, very effective book. And Bruce Wayne Tuckman's Developmental Sequence in Small Groups, where you can get more knowledge about this team building, group dynamics and everything. It's an article, research article done by him, and these are the references what I've gone through in you with this course. Now remember this picture. I told you I'll be discussing it again at the end of the course. So this we've seen the first day, the very first day, the first slide was this. The old Cherokee story. I hope you remember. I'm again repeating it. There are always 2 wolves that is fighting with each other inside each one of us. Who is going to win? Which wolf is going to win? The one you feed. So whom to feed, that you can decide. So by taking this course up itself, you helped yourself feeding the positive wolf of self-development, personal development, success, accomplishments. So it's a better thing. So keep choosing things that is going to feed the wolf which is positive, which is good in a sense, and always starve your negative wolf which is full of hatred, negative feelings, low self-esteem. So I hope this story, Cherokee story, you will always remember throughout your life, even if the course stops here, ends here, and always lead a very beautiful life. Keep taking up courses like this. Keep taking up self-help books and read them. Whenever a motivational video comes across you, there are many social media platforms. So always channelize those things, things you get, the influencers, in a positive way. Go through motivational, inspirational videos, get good things. Take away all the bad rubbishes from your mind. Have clarity in your mind to do your things. Focus on your life in a positive way. Always feed the wolf which is positive and starve the negative wolf. This is what I want to tell you when we approach to the end of this third day and the online course of personality development. And thank you. Happy learning with Ryan Publishers. Be blessed.